In this video, we're going to introduce the idea of direct variation. So we're going to define it, and then we'll do one example of direct variation. So we have three types of variation. We have direct variation, inverse, and joint. And so in direct variation is the most simple style of problem. It's where both variables increase or decrease together. As one variable doubles, the other will double. If one variable is halved, the other will be halved. Then we have inverse variation, and that's where one of the variables increases as the other decreases. Okay, and then lastly we have joint variation, where you might have any combination of direct and inverse. So let's look at some. Let's define, or I guess we're going to define direct variation a little more specifically. It says if y varies directly with x, or if y is directly proportional to x, then the function is considered direct variation. So basically, in a problem, if you're looking through it and you see either of these phrases, you should immediately think, okay, this is going to be a direct variation problem. And then basically the idea of a direct variation is it's going to take the form of y equals k times x, where k is going to be some constant. It might be a 3, it might be a negative 1/2, but that's always going to be like kind of our first sub-goal in this type of problem, is to figure out what k is. Let's see how this hashes itself out in an example. So here it says the amount of money raised at a school fundraiser is directly proportional. There's our code word. Okay, since we see that directly proportional, we know we're dealing with a direct variation. In other words, we know we're dealing with a function in the form of y equals kx. It says last year the amount of money raised for 100 attendees was $2,500. So that 100 would be like our x, and the 2,500 would be like our y, because the amount raised would depend on the number of attendees. This is like our dependent variable, that's like our independent variable. How much money will be raised if 1,000 people attend this year? Well, I'm going to pause on that bolded question. Okay, I first want to deal with the information we've been given, because with this information we can figure out what k is. If I know that when 100 people show up, there's $2,500, as I already said, y is 2,500, x is 100, you can kind of fill in those into our little direct variation equation. And then from there I can divide by 100 on each side. And what we end up with is we end up solving for k. We can figure out what that k value is, that constant of variation. And so what that means is that for this particular situation, that instead of y equals kx, we can say our equation is y equals 25x. And now that we've done this, I can answer the question that's bolded. How much money will be raised if 1,000 people attend this year? So this year, if I do 1,000 people, I would multiply 25 times 1,000 and get 25,000. That would be our answer. Yeah, that 25 times 1,000 would give us our answer of 25,000. Okay? So to kind of sum up the process, if you see it says varies directly or is directly proportional, you know that it's going to take the form of y equals kx. From there, you're likely going to be given an independent and a dependent variable, an x and a y, so you can substitute those into your equation and solve for k. Once you know what k is, you can use your new equation to figure out whatever you need to figure out.